Good evening and welcome to News Hour. I am Gegbai. Coming up in tonight's edition of News Hour, Senior Vice President Worldwide Manufacturing and New Business Development pays courtesy call on President and Islamic. A Sierra Leonean living in the United States, Arun Rashidin, donates a consignment of assorted textbooks to the Mass Communications Department of Rabe College. Deputy Minister of Works, Housing and Infrastructure condemns the construction of houses along water drainage facilities. And Attorney General and Minister of Justice files 182 indictments for September 2016 judicial session. All this and more coming up in the next 45 minutes. Welcome back. The Dole Packaged Food Senior Vice President Worldwide Manufacturing and New Business Development, Danko Stomberg, has paid a courtesy call on President and Islamic at State House. Razia Bashkamara filing these reports.
Introducing the team, the chairman, Sierra Leone Import and Export Promotion Agency, Oluniyi Robin Coker, said he met with Mr. Stambok and associates in Washington last year, and he expressed interest in coming to Sierra Leone and doing a food processing and canning facility with an open market for export. Mr. Robin Coker told the president that the team has been working fervently with the Ministries of Agriculture, Forestry and Food Security and Trade and Industry on a memorandum of understanding has already been signed. He informed the president that the team is here to finalize arrangements for the implementation of the project. Dole Packaged Foods Senior Vice President Worldwide Manufacturing and New Business Development, Danko Stambok, expressed delight to meet with President Nkrumah for a second time and registered his sympathy for the Ebola epidemic the country suffered. He maintained that the last time he was in Sierra Leone, the epidemic just started and that it was not going to last long, which unfortunately did not happen. Mr. Stambok pointed out that they have developed a nursery with Sierra Rutal, who they believed they should help as the development is for the interest of the country. The Dole Packaged Foods Senior Vice President maintained that they also organized and developed designs with a computer, and they developed nurseries in Costa Rica, Honduras, and Thailand to be able to bring enough seedlings to Sierra Leone to start the project. He added that they also did the environmental impact assessment that is almost completed, and they have identified the land where they could put one of the sites and then see if any other place exists.
So once we form our plantation, we also are intending to train your people to do grower program so that we can make them self-sustainable. I am not going to tell you that this is very easy. It's very difficult, and I told this to every minister that we met, and I told this to your people yesterday, that we are here in good faith, but that we need their support, government support, which we have, and I told them the government care about them. I sensed that from every minister that we discussed it. I sensed it from you when I was here last time with you, I think a year and a half, almost 2 years. And I said, but you need to be happy that we are here, that we can work together.
Welcoming the senior vice president of the country, President Nkrumah said he is pleased that they have come to the point of almost starting the implementation of the great agricultural project that they are looking forward to as a government and country. The president observed that he made his position very clear to them when they met to provide them with all it takes to ensure that the project succeeds. He maintained that as a government they have that view because they need to ensure that they build up the agricultural sector. The president pointed out that what has recently happened has further reinforced the fact that government really has to diversify the economy and lay emphasis on the opening of the agricultural sector, which is exactly what Dole packaged foods is coming to do in the country. He noted that as a president, he is happy with the approach and admitted that the country's climatic conditions are favorable, but they will also need to make some adaptations. President Kuruma pointed out that he is sure with time they will as a company be able to adapt with even the sunny conditions, adding that it is again important that they keep a very amicable relationship with the communities.
We met before Ebola, and our thinking then was to diversify the economy. And what has recently happened has further, reinforced that fact that we have to diversify the economy. We have to pay a lot of emphasis in opening up the agricultural sector, and this is exactly what you are coming in to do. I am again happy with your approach. Yes, our climatic conditions are favorable, but you also have to maybe make some adaptations here and there based on, but I'm sure with time you'll be able to adapt, and even our soil conditions. Now it is again important that we keep a very amicable relationship with the communities, because at the end of the day they are going to be the major players.
Senior Vice President, Sierra Tropical Parents Company, Dole, a multilateral company, Danko Stamberg, has assured residents of Lugbu Chiefdom Bo District that the long-awaited multi-million-dollar project will soon commence. The investor gave the assurance during a landowners consultative meeting held at Sumbuya. Sheku Sumaila takes up the story.
Senior President of Sahel Tropical Company, Danko Stambuk, said they are ready to implement the agricultural project. He informed the gathering comprising landowners, traditional leaders, residents, women, youths, representatives of the Sierra Leone Investment and Export Promotion Agency, SDIPA, and other important personalities that they should have started operation long ago, but the outbreak of Ebola delayed the process. He informed that after several researches and investigations, Lugu was earmarked for viability of pineapple and other fruits that they intend to plant and process. He disclosed that they are conducting nursing in some countries for the implementation of the Lugu project. Mr. Stanbuk said they are going to send the best experts here to start this project and also provide capacity building for locals. He said the company started operation over 50 years ago in the Philippines when many people were skeptical.
It's very important to understand why we want to be here. You have land, you have lots of people that want to work. You have local excellent government. You have very proactive chief that want to do something good for his people. You have very proactive government in Freeport that give us several options and ask us, this will be the best place for you to come. Your government is care about you, and they would like to see prosperity here in your province.
In his address, Paramount Chief of Sumbuya Chiefdom, Alhaji Mohammed Nalu V, extended appreciation to the investors. He thanked SNIPA and the government for taking such a flagship and enviable project to their doorsteps. This project is a fantastic development and will improve the lives of thousands of residents, he noted, adding that since the 1930s, when they started mining, much has not been achieved. Victor Bangura of SNIPA said in the last few years, they have always visited Sumbuya to explain the cause of the Sahara Tropical Investment. Mr. Bangura noted that the project was meant for Lubu and the implementation will start very soon. Honorable Member of Parliament for Constituency 73, Honorable Helen Kuyembe, said her constituents are very eager for the project. She advised the youth to prepare for agricultural work while admonishing them to deviate from artisanal diamond mining. She promised that of the interests of women, youths, and other residents will be protected in terms of employment. The team also held discussions with the resident Minister South, Mutar Conte, who also appreciated the project, particularly so when it is going to be implemented in his region, the South. The Chief Executive Officer of SNIPA, Raymond Beki, also held discussions with resident Minister South, Mutar Conte.
The phase 2 of it is also what His Excellency the President has been pushing, which is processing, value addition, so that we can get the premium. And in doing that, they are even planning a phase 2 of setting up a cannery, which Mr. Nyanibo has already told you about. They're setting up a cannery. And in that cannery, they're looking at also employing over 800 people.
Houses have been constructed on drainage facilities within the Levum and Poto communities in the west end of Freetown. The construction of those houses is affecting the free passage of water, thus gave rise to flooding when it rains. However, Deputy Minister of Works, Housing and Infrastructure, Madam Khadijatu Sise, has condemned the acts, showing a cleaning exercise undertaken by the Levuma Network for Peace and Development in collaboration with EPA. Daphne Kemamakoli files in this report.
According to the Deputy Minister of Works, Housing and Infrastructure, Madam Khadijatu Sise, most of the people who construct houses along the beaches do not have building permits from the Ministry of Works, Housing and Infrastructure.
We are very, very much disappointed in the way and manner in which people are doing things in this country. There is an extra, a stop work, and people are still continuing to work. So we will work together with the Ministry of Lands, EPA, so that we stop all this nonsense coming on. When they tell people to stop, they have to.
Acting Country Representative, Catholic Relief Society, Kwame Akanga, has said the All Pekin for Land project will target over 28,000 pupils in 192 schools in the Kainaduga district. He was speaking during the handing over of equipment and a Toyota Land Cruiser vehicle worth over $60,000 to the school feeding project of the Ministry of Education. Yvette Chasko reports.
Project is part of the Catholic Relief Services capacity building support to the Ministry of Education to feed children and have a sustainable primary school education. The acting country representative of the Catholic Relief Society, Kwame Akanje, says this current support to the government is a demonstration to contribute to the capacity development of the education sector. He commends the government for implementing a nationally owned school feeding program at local community levels. He adds that 2008 CRS supported the education sector through its Food for Education program, All Pekin for Land. The acting country representative notes that the recent third phase projects will provide school meals, teaching and learning materials, and furniture to roughly 28,586 pupils in 192 schools in the Konadugu districts. The acting country representative adds that the project falls under the President's recovery priorities designed to accelerate socio-economic development. He calls on government should actively ensure effective implementation, intersectoral partnership, and external technical support to ensure quality delivery.
So there are a number of items that we also like to hand over to the Ministry of Education to support the school feeding program. So these are some of the assets, and it's a pleasure really to hand those over to the ministry. We hope that they will be very useful for ensuring that the needs of the school feeding directorates are met.
The chairman, National School Feeding Project, Sylvester Mill, says he was impressed with the level of support from the Catholic Relief Society. He assures them that the items will be utilized well to achieve its intended purpose. According to the Deputy Minister 1, Ministry of Education, James Molai Kamara, the support will benefit the ministry's plan under the school feeding project. The Deputy Minister describes the gesture as wonderful, noting that CRS has been supporting the government's agenda on education.
Let me assure you that we are going to make good use of them, and I think we're going to benefit from these items. Thank you.
10 heavy-duty Sino trucks to be used by credible farmer-based organizations, youth groups and women farm organizations in the country have arrived at Queen Elizabeth II Key, Klein Town in Freetown. Dole reports.
The 10 trucks purchased by the Islamic Development Bank IDB in collaboration with the government of Sierra Leone will be utilized for the transportation of farm inputs that include seed rice, vegetable, fertilizers, cassava produce, and other related output by farmer operating with linking farmers to market project under the Smallholder Commercialization Program in the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Food Security. The project manager linking farmers to market for the Solomon Kanu told SLBC that the Islamic Development Bank and the government of Sierra Leone provided funds for the purchase of the 10 trucks, which were contracted by the Chinese Wijin Company at an initial cost of over $500,000 each. Mr. Kanu said that the trucks will be distributed to 5 operational districts of the project, linking farmers to market in Bo, Bombali, Bont, Tonkolili, and Western Rural Area District.
These vehicles are going to be used by the farmer-based organizations, by youth groups and women groups in transporting their produce from the farm to the market and from the market to the farm. You know, mind you, we are constructing feeder roads. We are also rehabilitating inland valley swamps. We are also going to construct about agricultural business centers. Or more or less, we are going to make some forms of transformation. So with all of these inputs being put in place, we thought it wise that to provide the FBOs with means of transporting, because if you have the road, you have the inland valley swamp that you will use to cultivate. Then if after harvesting you have the road, if you don't have transportation, the problems are still not solved. That is why we are providing this transport facilities to these various goods that will be engaging themselves in agricultural production.
The project manager for the Solomon Kanu also highlighted the move by the Islamic Development Bank and the Sierra Leone government aims at complementing the agenda for prosperity with a view of enhancing farmers across the country to transport their produce. Linking farmers to market is a 4-year project funded by the IDB and the government of Sierra Leone, with outcomes to an improved access to agricultural inputs and agro-processing technologies by smallholder farmers, among several others. For SLBC News Freetown, Abdul Samsisi reporting.
The National Protected Area Authority has launched the wildlife display panels at the Freetown International Airport. According to the Executive Director, National Protected Area Authority, Dr. Kole Bankura, the wildlife display panels is to showcase wildlife in Sierra Leone and promote ecotourism in the country. How would the National Protected Area Authority conserve the wildlife is the question Judith Sana puts to the Executive Director.
We are displaying wildlife of Sierra Leone. These are animals we take the pictures from the forest, the national parks. Some of them are the Freetown Peninsula National Park, some of them are from Motamba-Kilemi National Park, some of them are from the Kangaroo Hills, some of them from Loma Mountains, and some of them are along the sea, the mangroves, what we call the marine protected areas. This wildlife, as you can see, is very beautiful. is showing the heritage of Sierra Leone. A lot of people don't believe we even have wildlife like this. But these pictures you see, these display panels, remind you that Sierra Leone has something, okay, for the outside world. Diversity hotspot, we have 2,000 different species of plants and 1,000.
So where do we get wildlife in Sierra Leone? What are the communities?
Well, talk about forests. You know, you find wildlife, you find everywhere. Even inside Freetown, you find different types of wildlife. As we go, we will tell you about urban wildlife. Certain wildlife which is associated with humans. Rats, for example, guinea ground pigs, we call them pig. All these ones, these are wildlife. They are associated with, they are in close relationship with human beings. And if you go to the Freetown Peninsula, you will see chimpanzees. As soon as you enter Tapukama, you will see chimpanzees, Kungu Dam, those areas, Tapuyama Stream, and monkeys, different types of monkeys. We don't have one species, we have hundreds of different types of animals. So if you go to the Freetown Peninsula, you see them. That is, if you go to Nobatu River, you enter the forest, you go to places like Kent, you know,
okay,
and so on and so on.
Yes, Doc, NPAA, how do you intend to preserve wildlife in Sierra Leone?
Well, we have to preserve the forests in the first place, because the forests are the habitats for wildlife. Just like you and I, our habitat is the city, okay, Freetown, the city. If I take you from the city to the forest, you will not be able to survive for many days, because that's not your habitat. These animals live in the forest. For example, pygmy guys live in the water. You have to preserve these habitats or these forests for you to be able to maintain them. Like I said, we believe in ecotourism, and we think ecotourism will boost the economy of this country. In fact, in the future, we believe that after all the minerals are gone, mining has stopped, ecotourism will be the next generation of income generation in this country.
Right. So, Doc, I just want to comment quickly, looking at the human activities in the forest, right? So how do you intend to achieve what you are saying?
Well, we have to educate the public in the first place to ensure that they preserve the forest. And also, we do that in many ways. We also have to enforce the law to ensure that people don't just go in the forest and cut it down. Okay, so we do education, we also do law enforcement, as well as we will try to start bringing in income. Okay, that is, this forest will start earning, and this money will be shared between for the NPA and others, including the Ministry of Tourism, as well as the communities that live around this forest.
Executive Director, National Protected Area Authority, Dr. Kole Bangura, ending that interview there with our own Judith Sana. The new chairman of the Board of Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative International, Frederick Reinfeldt, has briefed President Nkrumah on new measures EITI has come up with in the areas of revenue generation, contracts and beneficial ownership that will be used to enhance national development. The benefits were revealed when Mr. Reinfeldt paid a courtesy call on President Ernest Bai Nkrumah at State House. Razia Bashkamara reports. Introducing the new chairman for the Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, EITI International, the Chief of Staff Office of the President, Saidu Kanton Sese, reminded His Excellency the President that when they returned from the conference in Lima, Peru, in his briefing to Cabinet, he indicated that they are expecting a visit from the new chairman of the EITI. Mr. Sese informed President Nkrumah that the new EITI chairman has already held briefings with him and his team. Briefing President, the new chairman, Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative International Board, Frederick Reinfeldt, said that his visit is a follow-up assessment of the Lima meeting earlier this year. Mr. Rinfelt informed the President that as the new chair, EITI International Board, it is very important to come and discuss with the government all of the developments that they are domesticating as a government.
It's coming in place this year, 2016. This will be important because when we start validation on this new standard, and for Sierra Leone we foresee this next year for 2017, it's not the same rules that apply as we did last time. It goes back to 2013. So, and for us it has been important not just to say if a country is a candidate or a compliant. We want to meet the pressures around the world globally, but also among our member states, to ask us to raise the requirements, to move into new fields, and I think the new standard reflects that. For instance, it used to be very much focused on our report coming out on an annual basis. Now we try more to look into if the government itself can present figures for revenues, licenses, contracts, a little bit like the license register we actually looked at the authority. We look more into that the multi-stakeholder group present, form ideas how to use the revenues in the best interest of the people. And we also introduce, for instance, the new concept of beneficial ownership, which is very important for us, and it links very much to the discussion of the world after Panama Papers and tax evasion and everything that is now very much discussed, but that originates very often from who owns and who is engaged in mining or
welcoming the chairman, Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative International Board, President Nkrumah congratulated him on his new appointment, coming from the position as Prime Minister, and he is now in charge of a very important world agency that is geared towards ensuring that there is transparency and accountability in the management and use of their country's natural resources. The President pointed out that for them as a country that is endowed with several resources, having in mind their vast experience, an experience they are not proud of, because the resources have not benefited them as much as they should have. He maintained that he strongly believes that having our EITI will help in the process of ensuring that everybody benefits, and that this time round it will be used to develop both the communities and the country at large. This, President Nkrumah affirmed, is the reason why they are happy to be part of the process, adding that they have had their learning experiences in being part of the EITI, and they are quite prepared now as a government and country to ensure that they work with the EITI in moving forward. The President disclosed that as a government, they have tried to introduce measures that are in line with the EITI processes, and even though they are proud of what they have done, they believe that there is still a lot of work to be done, which is going to be the emphasis moving forward. He intimated the new chairman that government welcomes the new measures and new standards that they have adopted as a board.
We have tried to introduce measures that, as you have indicated, that are in line with the EITI processes.
Yeah.
And even though we are proud of what we have done, we believe that there is still a lot of work to be done. And that is going to be the emphasis moving forward. And we welcome the new measures that you, the new standards that you have adopted. And from the recent disclosures and the things that are happening around the world, the people hiding behind, they're saying there is a layer and layer trying to ensure that the identities are not disclosed, and in the end we are not only losing out in terms of revenues from the owners, but when it even comes to taxation to the country, we are losing out. Personally, I believe that the EITI we should work with closely. We should But now we will ensure that the process is adopted as quickly as we could, and those that have had a holiday in the past in terms of, benefiting directly and the country not benefiting will come to an end.
Yeah.
And we will now have a situation wherein everybody benefits, and then it will help in the overall development of the country. And it's no point having all of these resources and still you cannot show any developments for it, because other people are quietly benefiting. So I think that is a commitment that I can give, and I am happy that we have already set up the necessary structures, and the proper representation is out there, including the civil society and everybody in the local communities. And
upon arrival, our own Ibrahim Samra engaged the former Swedish Prime Minister, new chair of EITI International Board, Jan Fredrik Reinfeldt.
Well, Sierra Leone is rich in natural resources, and the EITI has a standard that the implementing countries, Sierra Leone being one of them, has to follow to ensure that we get transparency when it comes to revenues, when it comes to licenses and contracts linked to natural resources, so that we can show the people of Sierra Leone what kind of resources that comes out from national resources, and to get a debate and hopefully to use these means in the best interest of the people.
So could you just explain about Sierra Leone performance in the EITI process? How Sierra Leone has been doing in the process?
Well, we are actually now in the National Board going to take soon a decision to validate Sierra Leone probably beginning of next year. We are here to talk with our EITI team in place. There is always a national ownership when it comes to EITI, what we call a multi-stakeholder group. We want to ensure that civil society in Sierra Leone has a say, to have room for the industry here present to have their word in the process, but also to the government side to show commitment when it comes to the standard, and to also opening up with transparency surrounding national resources. And we are very keen to hear from our friends that work here locally and meet with the multi-stakeholder group. It's very important in the best interest of the people, but also to ensure that foreign investments come into Sierra Leone to help rebuild Sierra Leone as a country. We will discuss the fact that we are raising the barriers, what we are asking from our implementing countries. For instance, we will ask them to reveal the beneficial owners behind the companies coming into Sierra Leone. We want to know who owns these companies, because we think that transparency concern this is also ensuring better governing of these companies in best interest for people in Sierra Leone. We will also try to see the social impact and how it can change everyday life of people in Sierra Leone by the use of our standard. We will discuss this. How do you use the figures? How do you get a debate here in Sierra Leone linked to what we find in the EITI process?
The Sierra Leone struggle maybe to become a compliant country after going through a lot of processes.
Yes.
And just after that, the Ebola broke out in the country. Yeah. So during your discussion on your validation, did you take into account that the Ebola has affected all sectors, including the mining companies? Now, most of the mining companies are pulled out.
Well, we of course know that this was a huge impact, and we are also looking at how Sierra Leone now is rebuilding and coming back after the Ebola outbreak. And as I said, it's now some years since we had a validation, and this comes in next year. But there is always a respect to listen in if there are local circumstances. Sometimes a member country is actually asked to be put out of the process for a while. But we're now trying to look forward for the future, for how we can use this to get new investments, a new start for Sierra Leone.
You're watching news coming to you live from the SLBC in Freetown. We continue with more stories. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation has organized a farewell event for the 2016 Chinese Government Scholarship Awardees. The Chinese Scholarship is an annual event provided to Sierra Leonean students to further their studies in China and is sponsored by the Chinese government. Awana Takante reports.
The 2016 scholarship has been described as the highest scholarships being offered at one time to Sierra Leone. 49 students will soon leave the shores of Sierra Leone for China to pursue courses ranging from undergraduate to doctorate degree. The Charge Affairs of the Chinese Embassy in Sierra Leone, Wan Siming, thanked the key players like Education and Foreign Ministries for making the program a reality.
And our government is committed and dedicated to the people-to-people exchanges. So we have sent here the Chinese doctors. We have established the Confucius Institute here, and we are offering the Chinese government stipends.
Mr. Wang said they have contributed in building the human resource base of the country and employ the students to focus on their studies. Deputy Minister of Education too, James Molai Kamara, expressed appreciation to the Chinese government, saying they are pleased with the continued support, describing these years as unprecedented. Mr. Kamara urged them to concentrate on their studies as education is the key to any meaningful development of a country. Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Dr. Samura Kamara, said their areas of study are relevant to the country's development. He encouraged the students to also learn about China and Sierra Leone, encouraging them to be steadfast in their studies.
We are not looking for excuses for complaints when we do that. My colleague and even himself, the challenges should be facing. But I think it's more important to look at opportunities. So if you have challenges, you transform the challenges to opportunities. So by the time you come back, you don't be like Samuel Kamara standing behind Samuel Kamara.
Dr. Kamara called on the students to return home after their studies to contribute to the development of Sierra Leone. One of the awardees commended the Chinese government for their support to education and promised to make good use of the opportunity. Awana Tukonte reporting for SLBC TV News.
The Minister of Education, Science and Technology, Dr. Minkai Luba, has launched a website for the Ministry of Education to help members of the public know the day-to-day running of the ministry. The website, amongst other things, will contain official email addresses of staff of the ministry. Nasiruddin Kurma filing this report.
Others represented here are equally eager to provide support and help the ministry realize its vision, not merely to promote the ministry, but more importantly, to help bring about improvement in the quality of education available to Sierra Leoneans. Madam Chairperson, colleague minister, partners in education, distinguished guests, staff of the ministry, ladies and gentlemen, it now gives me the honor and pleasure to officially launch the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology Education website. I thank you all for attention.
According to the Education Ministry officials, the website should be used as an advocacy tool where the ministry with development partners will interact to develop the sector. Dr. Minkai Luba informed his audience that though it may not be the first government website, but he is rather convinced that it will be the most visited, used, and ultimately the best of all national websites. Education, he says, is a priority to all Sierra Leoneans, and that accurate and current information on education will be accessible to all compatible mobile phones, tablets, or laptops, and network access in any part of the country. The minister notes that the use of the website does not stop with the provision of information. He adds that they intend to use the website to direct visitors to other websites and platforms for teaching and learning materials, and recordings are being prepared that can be accessed from the website. The website is to be operated in the ministry under the ICT units, and it will be interactive, allows for uploading and downloads larger files, support mailing facility with unlimited accounts, among other functions.
What we need to do collectively is make this website a success. We need to obviously put as much information, as much data up there as we can, so that we've all got access to some of the key documents and some of the key things and some of the key information that's out there. I just want to finally congratulate the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology for yet another key milestone that they're delivering under His Excellency the President's Recovery Plan. Again, this is a very, very important development.
He acknowledges the support of DFID, World Bank and UNICEF for technical and financial support, with the promise of additional support for improvement and to keep the website functioning. The Minister of Youth Affairs, Bai Mahmoud Bangura, thanks the ministry and its partners for providing an education website that will benefit mostly young people in the education sector. Similar sentiments were expressed by the Minister of Sports, Ahmed Kanu. To news are the main points again. Senior Vice President, Worldwide Manufacturing and New Business Development, has paid courtesy to President Ernest Bai Koroma. A Sierra Leonean living in the United States, Arun Rashidin, has donated a consignment of assorted textbooks to the Mass Communications Department, Rabai College. Deputy Minister of Works, Housing and Infrastructure has condemned the construction of houses along water drainage facilities, and Attorney General and Minister of Justice has filed 182 indictments for September 2016 judicial session. Well, that's all we have time for tonight's edition of News Hour, broadcast live on the SLBC in Freetown. On behalf of my news editor, Abubakar Bambura, I am Gegbai. For more information about the program, please send us an email to www.contactus@slbc.sl. Thanks for watching and happy viewing.